Peace. This is Wise Words Media back at y'all for another round. And fight fans, there you have it. What I've been saying for years has now been uttered by one of the greatest boxers of all time, Iron Mike Tyson himself. Mike Tyson has just stated that Canelo Alvarez has no heart. He said he's afraid of David Benavidez, and he's an embarrassment to boxing and an embarrassment to the storied Mexican culture, the warrior culture of Mexican history and boxing. He's an embarrassment to that, an embarrassment to boxing, and he is scared of David Benavidez. Now, my people, my fight fans, where have you heard those words at before? Right here on Wise Words Media. I've been telling y'all since my very first video. Go look at it. 2 years ago, I've been telling y'all Canelo Alvarez is a media-made sensation. They needed to find somebody to replace Floyd Mayweather as the face of boxing, and they found Canelo Alvarez right in time. And that's how they ushered him in, by putting him on the undercard of all of Floyd Mayweather's fights, right when Floyd was about to retire, so people could get familiar with him and he could be the new face of boxing on the two biggest fight nights, which happen to be Mexican holidays, Cinco de Mayo in May and Mexican Independence Weekend in September. And that's exactly what happened, man. But this guy has never really proved himself. Every time he stepped up in competition to prove himself, he either won in controversy or he lost. Stepped up in competition to fight Floyd, lost, got embarrassed. He fought Lara, controversial win. Fought Triple G, one controversial tie that Triple G should have won, and a controversial win. Stepped up against Dimitri Bivol, lost. Every time he fights somebody in their prime and he steps up in competition, it's always marred in controversy or a loss. And now, reports have it that he and Al Heyman have split because he did not want to take a 92-8 split. 92-8. You know how crazy that sounds? That Canelo Alvarez turned down 92% of the purse? David Benavidez wanted this fight so bad just to prove his greatness that he said, you know what? Take it. You could take 92%. I just want 8% of the money and a chance, the opportunity to prove how great I am. And Canelo, who was gonna get guaranteed $55 million just for the fight. That's not even talking about pay-per-view buys. He was going to generate another like $50 million off pay-per-view buys. He was set to gross $100 million for going against David Benavidez, and he simply said no. That's why I've been saying he's a media-made sensation. That's why Mike Tyson has called him out. This is why Marquez has called him out. Why Chavez has called him out. De La Hoya has called him out. All the Mexican greats have called him out. And now the latest great boxer, one of the greatest to ever lace him up, and knows a thing or two about going in there with stiff competition just to prove himself, Mike Tyson has now called him out and said he's scared, he's a coward, and he's an embarrassment to boxing and to the proud warrior Mexican culture, because he is not willing to fight people in their prime. Look what he did. Charlo was his mandatory 10 years ago. When Charlo was his mandatory, what did he do? The WBC said, you either fight Charlo or you got to give up the belt. Canelo said, here, take it. He did not want to fight Charlo. But now, Charlo, who is having some mental issues, personal problems, some say he's even drinking a lot. Now he's all ready to fight Charlo. Same thing he did with Chavez Jr. When him and Chavez Jr. was rising in the ranks at the same time, Chavez Jr. was knocking everything out. He was starting to look like his father. He was hitting people to the body, head body shots, and from there he was knocking dudes out. Canelo did not want to fight him. Then all of a sudden, when he starts seeing that Chavez Jr. is having lifestyle issues, personal problems, losing fights now all of a sudden he's ready to fight Chavez Jr. He does this all the time. He waits till people are when they look vulnerable, then he wants to fight them. Triple G was calling him out for 4 years. He did not want to fight Triple G when Triple G was in his prime. He waited till Triple G looked vulnerable because he was getting hit a lot against Danny Jacobs. And he was also in his mid-30s at this point. Then he wanted to fight Triple G. And then he waited 4 years to give Triple G the third fight when Triple G was 40 years old. You see what I'm saying? So this is a pattern with Canelo. And what he's trying to do is he left the PBC because a part of this 2 fights that are left in his 3-fight deal, he has to take on Jamal Charlo, and then he had to give them a big fight, and that's the David Benavidez fight. And he said no. He didn't want any parts of David Benavidez. But now he's having trouble over at the Zone because Eddie Hearn is like, dude, I'm not trying to pay money to have you fight Jaime Munguia. That's not a big fight. I got Dimitri Bivol. I could give you a package deal. I could give you Munguia, but you got to give me the Bivol rematch. And he's like, ooh, nope. Hey, let's call Al Heyman once again. So now he's trying to work a deal with Al Heyman to get the Munguia fight on PBC. So what he's trying to do is the same thing with David Benavidez that he did with Jamal Charlo, that he did with Chavez Jr., that he did with Canelo. What he's trying to do is now David Benavidez says that he's moving up. David Benavidez is officially moving up to light heavyweight. He's going to 175 now. He's not going to be at 168 no more where Canelo holds the belts. So Canelo, this is working out to Canelo's plan, to his mastery. Like, yo, you know what? I'm going to wait it out. Benavidez is now moving to 175 for his next fight. He's no longer able to make 168. So now Canelo's like, let him and Bivol fight each other and let him fight Artur Beterbiev. Let all of them take care of each other. And once he sees one of them look vulnerable, guarantee you, that's when, if he sees Benavidez looks vulnerable at 75 at the new weight class, if he sees Bivol looks vulnerable, or if Artur Beterbiev, who's pretty old, if he sees he looks vulnerable, that's going to be the next big fight Canelo takes. When he sees one of those guys look vulnerable. Guarantee you that, man. I've been telling y'all for years, and now you heard it from one of the greatest himself, Mike Tyson. Canelo Alvarez is nothing but a hype job. One of the most overrated fighters in boxing history. Period. I'm Waz for Waz Words Media. Peace.